Hey everybody, welcome back around to the Blog and Grill. I am your host Doug here with your video blog for September 12th, 2014. We have a lot to get to today for sure. We got our college football and our pro picks this week as we get ready for another great weekend of football. We'll also talk a little bit about the New York Yankees as they are making a playoff push. NASCAR chase for the Cup starts this weekend, but we have two big-time stories, and the Ray Rice domestic violence story is not the biggest story on the day. Breaking news just into us about an hour ago. Chris Davis, first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles, has been suspended 25 games for testing positive for a use of amphetamines. This suspension will take him, the Orioles have 17 games left, this suspension will take him through probably the first round of the playoffs, okay? So he would not be available until likely the ALCS. So we will see what happens with that. The amphetamine he used, and this is going to be a big, hotly debated topic, I think. He used Adderall. Last year, he had approval from Major League Baseball to use Adderall. This year, he did not get that approval. So maybe it was on him. It's hard to say who you're going to blame here. Davis was a contributor, wasn't batting great, only batting 196, but he did have 26 home runs and 72 RBIs on the year, so he was still being very, very productive in a lineup where the home run ball is so important. And this is still a deep lineup. They have some guys they can throw in there. Nick Markakis can play some first base. Steve Pearce can play some first base. Delman Young, I think, could also probably play a little first base. We'll see what they do with this. We'll see what this does to the Orioles. They are comfortably going to win the American League East. I do believe they have a 10.5 game lead, or 10-game lead over Toronto with 17 to go. Unless they collapse, they should be fine. They do play 8 games against the Yankees, which could be important if the Yankees could somehow win 7 of those and get back into that race. That would be miraculous. I don't think the Yankees will. But if they do, that's going to be talked about, this whole Chris Davis thing, if it pulled this team apart. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. If something comes down after all about him using the Adderall, if it was something else besides Adderall. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this Chris Davis suspension. I don't think this is the last we've heard about it, and people will be talking about his approval or non-approval of the use of Adderall. The other big case we've been talking about for now, probably 2 weeks, is the Ray Rice domestic violence case, and it's starting to shift, okay? It's really becoming out of the hands of Ray Rice. He's been cut. He's been suspended indefinitely. He's been sentenced in the eyes of many people, okay? The shift now is becoming the Roger Goodell issue of, did Roger Goodell see the second videotape that was released by TMZ on Monday? And there's allegedly a voicemail out there with a woman from the NFL office saying that she's watched the video and the video was at the NFL headquarters. This was the big news that came out earlier yesterday, that there was a woman on this. And I think the question is, will we find her? And I don't think we will find her, okay? I think this woman will not really surface. I think it could be a scapegoat situation. I don't know what's going to happen. I think Goodell right now is okay for keeping his job because the owners are backing him. As long as the owners back Roger Goodell, he's going to have his job, and he is still going to be in charge of the National Football League, okay? But really, out of all this, we look at it, and really the most honest man, I think, in this whole case so far has not been the district attorney, has not been the casino, has not been Roger Goodell. It's been Ray Rice. Ray Rice owned his baggage. He came out, said what he did, video confirmed what he did, and he took care of his baggage, okay? He figured out his problems. His wife and him are figuring out their problems too, and I think this is the steps Ray Rice needs to take to one day have a shot to get back in the National Football League. And if he wants that shot, he's going to have to start changing his life and turning it around now to make those steps to get ready to come back in maybe a year or more. We'll see. But it's going to be a developing story as we continue throughout these next couple of weeks. We'll keep talking Ray Rice and other stuff as well. All right, college football picks. It's time for our college football picks of the weekend. My college football picks have been not very good. I'm 3-7 through the first 2 weeks of the college football season. This week, Syracuse going on the road at Central Michigan. Syracuse a 5.5-point favorite on the road. I like Syracuse in this game. I think they're solid. I think they're probably better than Central Michigan. They can run the ball effectively. I will take Syracuse and the points. Syracuse will win. by a touchdown. Number 6, Georgia going on the road to number 24, South Carolina. I like Georgia's running game with Todd Gurley. I think he could this week emerge as a Heisman contender if he can have a big game against South Carolina. Georgia comes into this game as a 6.5-point favorite. I think South Carolina's defense is not good enough. Georgia could win this one in a runaway. Staying in one of the SECs, Tennessee going on the road to take on number 4, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a team I'm not buying yet. I think Trevor Knight's good enough to get by Tennessee this week, but they could struggle when it comes down into Big 12 play against a Baylor, against a Texas. I'm going to take Oklahoma to win this game but not cover the 20.5 points. Oklahoma will win by 10. Upset alert time. Number 21, Louisville going on the road to Virginia. We saw UCLA struggle on the road at Virginia. Louisville comes into this game as a 6.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Virginia to win the game outright and upset the Louisville Cardinals. And finally, another Saturday night game, number 9 USC, who I think could be one of the more impressive teams in the league if they can get their offense running a little bit better. Against Boston College on the road, I'll take USC to win and cover the spread. They're a 17-point favorite. They will get it done on the road. We'll have our NFL picks in just a little bit, but let's go to NASCAR. Chase for the Cup. It's going to be the first race in the new Chase format for this for the season here. We got 10 races to go. It's going to be exciting to watch for sure. The big news this week was really Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick are going to switch pit crews. Kevin Harvick's crew really cost him some time last week. They switched their pit crews, and we'll see if that does anything. My driver to watch this week is going to be Jeff Gordon. He's my driver to watch. Has been quick on the 1.5 mile tracks all year, and he won at Kansas, which they'll visit later on in the chase, which he did win at Kansas. Kansas and Chicago are very similar. I'm going to take Jeff Gordon to get the win and lock himself into that round of 12 at Kansas this week. All right, time for my NFL picks. Last week I was 2-3. I'm already 0-1 this week. Ravens took apart the Steelers last night. Joe Flacco looked good. Steeler defense still not looking good. They've played about one good half of defense. The second half against the Browns, and this game was not a very impressive performance. Ravens beat the Steelers 26-6, but Thursday night games are just not very exciting. Okay, you can pretty much pick the home team every time out. All right, NFL picks. Atlanta 1-0 going on the road to take on the Bengals. Bengals are a 5-point favorite. I'll take the Bengals to win by a touchdown. Seattle going on the road to take on the San Diego Chargers. Chargers lost a tight one to the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. Seattle's favored by 5.5 on the road. I will take San Diego as a home underdog. They will get the win in this one. Sunday night game, Chicago 0-1 versus the 49ers 1-0. I think the 49ers look very impressive. They probably have the second best skilled players and could be the best team in the game right now. 49ers will win and cover the 7-point spread. And Philadelphia, a road underdog. Philly 1-0, Indy 0-1. I think Indy has too many problems on defense, and their running game is not solidified yet. I think Philly will get the win in Indy by 7. New York Yankees last night, a big win. Chris Young, the new guy, former Met, he had a double to break up the no-hitter in the 8th, then hit the walk-off 3-run home run in the 9th. Yankees 10.5 games back in the East, 4 games back in the wild card with 8 games left with Baltimore. Yankees today, doubleheader, 105 start. McCarthy 6-4, 279 versus Kevin Gausman, 7-7 with a 3.83. Yankee lineup, we got Ellsbury in center, Prado at third, McCann DHing to Share at first, Chris Young in left, Drew at second base, Murphy catching, Brendan Ryan at shortstop, and Antone Richardson will be making his season debut for the Yankees in right field. And for the Baltimore Orioles, Markakis in right, Diaza in left. Jones in center, Cruz DHing, Pierce at first, Hardy at short, Kelly Johnson at third, Nick Hundley at catcher, and Jonathan Scope will be the second baseman. And tonight it will be the Yankees sending Brian Mitchell to the mound to make his first major league start. He's thrown 2 innings this year, no hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Bud Norris will go for the Baltimore Orioles. He's 12-8 with a 3.92. We'll be back on Monday. We'll talk Chase for the Sprint Cup. We'll go around the Shield and my top 4 in college football. Check me out on sportsmindednews.com. Also, follow me on Twitter at YankeeBaller415. Comment, question, subscribe to my page. Thanks for tuning in to the Blog and Grill. I will be back on Monday. Have a great weekend.